Welcome back to part 4 of our ex5-PHP table tutorial, and in this part we're going to be working with a mysqli function in order to display the number of rows. I can go to my PHP tutorial and I could say, is there something that counts rows? Now you'd look through here and you say, I would have no idea where to do that. But if you do look at your MySQL database, that's kind of getting closer. Now what we really want out of here is we want to go all the way down and we want to find the we want this PHP mysqli. What that has is that has all these functions. You know, the one that connect, the ones that we're using already. I'm talking about these kind of things. mysqli connect, the one that says mysqli fetch, assoc, num rows, all this kind of stuff here. These kind of things, the connect error, all this kind of things, these are all functions, mysqli functions. So I'm going to go back and look through here. I'm going to look for one that can give us the amount of rows. Now we got to kind of look through here and we'll look towards the end. I remember looking here before, but they have one called mysqli num rows, and it says returns the number of rows in a result set. Well, that sounds like exactly what we want. So we're going to use this. Now I'm going to click on it. Now again, where we are, we're all the way at the bottom, PHP reference, and it has the mysqli. And I'm looking through all the functions they have here, and they have a lot of functions. So whenever you need something, see what kind of functions are available. You could always just search it, but if you go through here, you could find it. I was looking at the one that said num rows, and I'll click on it because it should show me how to do it. They have a little, they show you the code here. Now it shows all kinds of stuff. It shows a connection and echo. We have all that stuff. We have the select, we have the query, we have all that stuff already. It even has a, an if result, we have that. The only thing we really need here are really these two lines, and then one of them is just a comment. So and we're not even going to use the one that says printf because we're just going to echo it because that's what we've been doing. We're just going to use this. We're just going to take these two lines from the mysqli num rows function that we found down in reference for mysqli. So we're just going to copy these two rows, the one that says row count equals. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm just going to put it in my code somewhere. Well, where will it go? Well, probably at the end. I'll probably do it after. So this is my if statement, else. This is all that kind of generating the rows. I'm going to do it after that, right before it closes. So I'm going to put it here and I'm going to paste it in. I'll just move this back a little bit. And notice that it's using result. So it's setting a variable and it's using result, and we already have result here, so it's using the same thing. So we're using that as a result. That variable is our result. So the only thing new here is this row count, and that's a new variable that's created, and it's basically running the function on our result. So it should give us a number of rows. Now we need to echo it. That's what we don't have. So let's just copy another echo. Here's one up here. This will be easy. We'll just echo it. And what do we want to echo? Well, we want to give the result. So where it has DB name, we'll make it be row count. So I could just copy row count here and put it here. And then I'm just going to put displaying, the part that's the string, I'll just say displaying, and then it'll have a space so that there's a space before it gets to that, which is going to be, 23, whatever it is. And then at the end here, where it has these line breaks, I'll just take them out and I'll put rows and a period. So it's just going to say echo. Displaying is our string, and then concatenating, that's the variable, it's going to say row count, and the function is figuring out the row count from the result. And notice we have a space here and a space there. That puts the space on either side of the variable. So that should display it. Now, I'm not sure where it's going to display it, but let's see what happens. I'll refresh it, and it's showing it up here. That's okay, except it might look nicer at the bottom. You might think, well, I thought we put it at the bottom. Well, that's what I thought, except because it's not in a table in a row, I guess it just puts it up front. Even though it's in a table, we don't have a table and row indicated, so we need to put a table in a row here to actually do that. So what we're going to need to do here, and maybe I'll just kind of break this up so it looks like the other one, like this one up here, we'll do the same thing. We'll kind of put a tr. I'll make a whole new row, and we don't have to put a whole bunch of table cells, just one. So I'm going to put this, and I'll put this, I guess, in front of it. I don't really, and if you have a string and then a dot and a string, you don't really need to be separating strings like that. You really need to be separating like variables from strings. So I can do that, it's okay, but I can take this out if I want. And I could really just do this and just include that together in the same one. And then I could even include at the end here, I can include the closing TD if I want to. And then I still have to finish this off with a closing TR. Now I do use a dot here, and I could do that, or I could just put it inside, but I guess I'll just do what I was doing. So I'll just put space, dot, and then I'll hit return, space again, and I'll hit return, and I'll just put a closing TR. I'll put it in quotes and put a less than sign slash and then a TR, and that's all I should need. And again, I don't have to concatenate a string to a string, but if you do, it's okay, because that's what I'm doing here. I'm concatenating this TR string to this string, and I'm doing it here, although we put the TDs together right next to it, and we don't even need a space or anything, because it's just a tag. So I'm going to save this and see what it does. It should put it in the last row of our table. So and if I go down to the bottom, it's saying, wow, I didn't realize I had that many. 58 rows for Africa. And at the bottom now, let's say you wanted this a different, now it's not showing because we didn't create any TDs for these other ones. We could have just put them empty. But, for now, that's okay. Like, let's say you wanted a different color. Maybe you wanted it yellow or something. How would you make that row yellow? So it stands out. Well, we can kind of use what we have up here. If we actually had another, I'm going to copy this TR one. And it's TR nth child. They actually have another one called last, where you could put in last. So it'll only be the last row. And background color, maybe I'll right click on it and I'll do a quick edit, and maybe I'll choose like a yellow color. I'll do kind of a real pale yellow color. And that should just color my last row of the table. And another thing I can do if I want, just for that row, maybe I could do something called font weight. We're going to make it bold. Now for bold, they use font weight, not font style. Font style is used for italic, but font weight is used for bold. So I'm just going to put in here now. They do have numbered weights, but we can just use bold and put a semicolon. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I mentioned before that you can't have a space between the number and the unit, but this doesn't matter here. You can put a space. They usually like to have a space there, so usually it looks nicer with a space, but you don't have to have it. You could have that right there, but I'm going to put one, and that should make the font in just that last row bold. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to refresh it. Nothing changed. Nth child last. Okay, and not to be secretive or anything, but I just looked it up on Stack Overflow because I messed it up because I thought it was last. And actually, it's TR last child. It's not nth child, because nth is more of the number child. It's just called last child. So I'll go back here and fix that, because that's what I had wrong. I had it styled as nth child last, like odd, but it doesn't work like that. It's actually called, where the nth is, that's where the last is. It's just last child, and there's no parameter that goes in there. It's just the last child. So I'll save that, and I'll refresh it, and now it's showing with that background color of yellow, and it's showing up as bold. So I just did a quick little search there in Stack Overflow and got those, because believe me, I don't have these memorized, but I do know that you can do them. That's why when you do a search, just say, I want to style the last row of a table, and you'll find in Stack Overflow someone telling you how to do that. So that's a nice reference to have available for you for any of these things, because it's not something you do every day, but here's a situation when you're working with generating tables from PHP and an MySQL database that you might want to do that. So we're able to do that and style it and make it look nice. We'll just look at that again because it looks really nice. So it's nice to be able to do this. No matter what query we run, it's going to show up looking like this, and it's going to show us how many rows we have. And obviously there's going to be more things that we're going to kind of add to this as we go. But I just wanted to do this with ex5 first, so you had the ability to kind of show things that look nice. So we're going to do more things. We're actually going to be creating databases and adding items to databases. We're going to be doing a lot in here with our databases, but first thing I want to do is make sure that it could show up nice in a web page, because it just looks so much nicer to be able to do that. All right, so that's the end of part 4. And when you're done with this, make sure that you save what you have. So you can go over here and do File, Save. Or if you see the dot there, you could always just click on that X. And if it's unsaved, it'll ask you to save it. So you could close this up, and we're done with ex5. And what you're going to want to do is go find your file. And here I have it in my htdocs. However you do this on Windows or Mac, I know it's a little more work on Windows, you're going to want to right-click and compress this. I know you have to do like send to compressed file on Windows, but we're going to want to compress this so we make a zip file, and we're going to send this. This is the file that you're going to want to upload in coursework on e-learning. So you're going to send this an e-learning for ex5, just like you did last time for ex4. So then I'll have your whole folder. And that's the end of ex5.